start on our backs. Of course, if it's more comfortable and you want to sit upright, please feel free. I usually say start on your back, one, just out of habit, but two, the floor is a really nice way to support the back of your head, your neck, your shoulders, and your pelvis. So giving ourselves whatever shape we're in, a couple moments here to settle. So we might imagine when we're settling, like we took a snow globe and we shook it all up and the snow went all over the globe, right? And then as we give the globe a little bit of time, all of the snow sifts and calms down. And then the globe is a little more calm. So however you connect to a little more calm and ease, we'll take 3 breaths. And then a gentle reminder, practicing with mindful self-compassion, being kind to ourselves, and practicing with curiosity. So with curiosity and kindness, how does your body feel right now as you either are lying back or sitting upright? Give yourself maybe 3 to 5 breaths just to do a short, meaningful physical body check-in. Gather some information. And then with kindness and curiosity, check in with your energy. How's your energy right now? Again, we're gathering information. And then feel your breath. And where do you feel your breath in your body? You might find it in several different places. You might find it really strongly in one place. Just give yourself a moment, check in, feel your breath. And then pick one place that you feel your breath and try and follow 2 full inhale, exhales through that place. And then bring your arms up towards the ceiling. So if you're sitting, roll onto your back, or if you're in a chair, you prefer to stay sitting, bring your arms out in front of you. Okay, so a little bit different. You're going to bend your elbows and you're going to take your tricep, the back of your upper arm, down to the floor or in line with your rib cage. And you're going to squeeze in a little bit. Soften your hands like you were holding a ball. And with your inhale, take your forearms out to the sides just a little bit and exhale, bring them back up towards the ceiling. So I'm doing this one with you. If you're confused, you can always look up. You're inhaling, taking your forearms, back of your knuckles towards the floor. And with an exhale, you're bringing them back towards the ceiling. Let's do 3 more breaths. Really try and move the arms from the breath. So you feel the breath and then the movement. One more time. Next time your arms come in, your fingertips are up towards the ceiling. Pause. Soften your fingers and take your arms up towards the ceiling or out in front of you. Same idea. Inhale, arms go wide like T's out towards the floor. Exhale, long levers, arms come up to the ceiling or out in front of you. Try 4 more. So can you move after your breath? So you feel the breath and then you move. Then the next time your arms come up to the ceiling, just pause or arms in front of you and bring your arms to the floor or to your lap and take 3 breaths. And just 3 breaths to come back into your body. Now bring your knees up over your hips. So if you're on the floor, knees over hips. If you're in your chair, you're keeping your knees right where they are. We're going to straighten your legs up towards the ceiling. If you're in a chair, just march in place. If you're on the floor, the legs are going to do something like the arms. You're going to inhale, take your legs out wide, and exhale, pull them in from your breath. So either marching or going out and pulling your legs in. If you're on the floor, the back of your pelvis is nice and heavy. Feeling the breath in relationship to the movement. Maybe one more time. Then a little more challenging, keep your legs up. Bring your arms up. Inhale, all the limbs go out. Exhale, all the limbs come in and up. If you're in a chair, march in place and take your arms out and in. We're just trying to move in relationship to your breathing. Maybe 1 or 2 more. Next time your arms and legs are up towards the ceiling, pause. Bring everything back down to the floor. Hands can come onto your lap if you're sitting. And then we're going to take a 3-breath check-in. So again, we're just going to take about 5, 6, 7 seconds. Just come back, check in. And give yourself a full exhale. And we're going to figure out how to come all the way on up to stand. So you could roll over to the side. You can roll yourself forward and up. And we'll come all the way on up to stand. Woo! Sometimes I roll up a little fast, get a little lightheaded. Let's take a wide stride. So if you're in the room, you can face any direction. Heels in, toes out, soft shoulders. Great, let's just go up and down a little bit in your sumo squat. So nice and strong through your feet. You might look down and see your knees going a little more over your middle toes. Go down as far as your ankles, knees, and hips are happy. One more time. Great. And the next time you come up, just pause. We're going to press into the balls of the feet. So try and have long toes. Press into long toes, balls of the feet, and you press down so much that your heels lift up a little bit. And then your heels come down and you go down into your squat. You come on up, press into the balls of the feet, lift your heels, lower the heels, go down. One more time. The only way to get your heels up is to press into the balls of the feet. Heels come down knees bend. Great, then come on up, legs can stay wide. We're gonna exhale, sweep your arms out and up. Inhale, pull them down. So a little bit like what we were doing when we started, from your breath. Okay, so when you feel the exhale, out. When you feel the inhale, down. One more time. Great. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. 3 more with your breath rhythm. Great. This next one, try and lift your heels at the end. 3 breaths with your heels lifted. Great. Can you keep your heels up and then start to bend your knees? Might take your thigh bones and press them back a little bit to open up through your front hips there. Lift your chest. I'm going to stay here for half an hour. Can you imagine? Sorry, that's not funny. Put your heels down, come on up. Step your feet together. Woo. And just hang out. You just get to stand. Hang out, breathe, come back, check in, 5 breaths. So try not to look down at your feet. Feel your big toe. Okay, and then you have that mound, the bottom of the big toe. Press into that mound and spread your toes across the mat into your pinky toe. And then you're going to just shift the weight forward a little bit and back a little bit. Shift into the balls of the feet. Shift into your heels. Yeah. Couple more times. Yeah, nice. I see some of us in the room starting to lift your heels. Definitely head in that direction. Just feel how your body shifts, counter shifts. Great. And then you're going to just shift the weight a little more into your heels. So this is like just a little more grounding, a little more weight in your heels. Okay. Now, keep more, say, weight in your heels, but ground the balls of your feet equally. Great. Then bend your knees a little bit. Take your hip creases back a little bit. Keep the weight in your heels like you're going to sit down in a chair or a stool. Great. And then you're going to keep that low belly cummerbund really nice and strong and tip forward. Don't move your legs and just come back up. So just warming up in your hips. Okay. So a little more weight in your heels. Grounded, heels to balls of the feet, and you're hinging at your hips 2 more times. Great. Next time you hinge over, we're going to hold right there. I'm going to put your hands lightly on your thigh bones and pull your belly button up a little bit. So when you pull your belly button up, careful that you don't totally like tuck your pelvis under. Okay. So can you hold your pelvis right where it is and just try and find what we might call like more engagement or connection from your belly button through your low back. There you go. Now slide your shoulders down your back a little bit gently. Lift your chest and just look up. You might keep your hands on your legs. You might bring your thumbs to your chest. Much more challenging because the lever is going to get longer is taking your arms up. Try and take 3 breaths wherever you are, grounding, heavy in your heels, but there's a nice steady feel of anchor through the big toe to the pinky toe. Reach up and then fold all the way over and step your feet back and build a downward facing dog. Take your time. Drop your head, look back at your legs. So look at your toes, long fluid toes, heels lift. Push your hip creases, butt cheeks back. Now, even though your heels are lifted, can you feel a connection from your heel into the earth? As if your heel were still tethered to the earth, even though it's lifted. Strength now through the upper back, mid back, low back, 2 breaths. Exhale with control, come down, build a tabletop. We're just going to do 1 round of cat-cow. So remember, in your cat, you round your spine. In your cow, you go back through your table and you look, feel, notice extension. You come back to your table. We'll take a fork in the road. You could press back to a child's pose, or you could lift your hips, push your bum back, downward facing dog. So you all have choices of where you want to go. We're going to be here for about 3 to 5 breaths. I'm going to be quiet so you can come back to your body. See again, if you can just follow your breath. Okay, if you're in down dog, look up at your thumbs. If you're in child's pose, come to tabletop. We all have to figure out how to come to standing. So you're walking your feet forward or your hands back, coming all the way back up, taking a big standing mountain stretch. Arms come down, take about 5 seconds to check back in, nice and quiet. With your next exhale, we're going to step your feet wide again. Heels in, toes out. Without looking down, feel your big toe to your pinky toe, back to your heel. Little more challenging if you want. Push into the balls of the feet, lift your heels just a piece of paper. 3 of those sumo squats, heels up just a tiny bit or heels down, your choice. With your breath, inhale down. With your exhale, come on up. 1 more, nice and quiet so you can be with your breath. Heels draw back to come down. Left leg rolls in just a little bit. Right leg rolls out, go about heel to heel. All right, bring your hands onto your pelvis. Find those front hip points and try and lift those front hip points up. Okay, so being careful that when you lift your hip points up, you're bringing them up, but not back. Okay, we're not necessarily wanting to tuck under, just lift the bowl up. And then from your breathing, you're going to inhale, bend your right knee, and exhale, straighten 2 more times. Okay, next time your right knee's bent, pause. With your exhale, press into the big toe. So your right big toe to your pinky toe, press into the ball of that right foot and lift your heel. You push down so much that the heel gets higher, higher, higher. Ooh, 3 breaths. Soft shoulders, neck, jaw, face. So check in with your upper body. Pull your heel back to stretch and strengthen the arch of the foot. Bring your heel down. And then push into the floor, ground to earth to straighten the right leg. Right leg rolls in, left leg rolls out. Lift your pelvis. Be mindful to not tuck under. 3 times with your breath. Inhale, exhale. Next time your left knee's bent, pause. Can you just feel the left foot? Press into the ball of that left foot with your exhale, and you press down, and the heel gets lighter and lighter, and it lifts higher and higher. And you pull that heel out of your toes to feel length and strength through the arches of the feet. 2 breaths. Pull that heel back to come down. Great. Then push into the left leg to straighten. Come back around. Toes, knees face forward. 3 hinges at your hip. So you're going to push your butt cheeks back and just hinge. You decide how far you want to go over. You might go to table. You might come all the way over and touch the floor. You do you. Keep breathing. You can't do it wrong. Going slow enough that you can listen to your hamstrings, back of the legs, listen to your low back. Right? You can have a conversation with your low back. When it gets cranky, that's a good time to slow down and stop. Next time you come up to stand, we're going to just hang out there. Great. And then just we'll meet up standing at the front of your mat. Arms hang, come back, take about 5 breaths. Gentle reminder, mindful self-compassion. You come back in, curiosity, kindness, checking back in. Hey, try not to look down. Feel the balls of your feet. Feel your heels. Shift the weight into your heels a little more. Now, as you shift the heel weight or the weight into your heels, you don't have to lose grounding in the balls of your feet. So you can still stay really nice and anchored and grounded. Sit down a little bit towards your chair. And then you choose, where do you want your hands? Maybe in your hips to give that support. Maybe palms come together. Most challenging, arms come up. Now, all of us have this awareness. Corset cummerbund, navel draws back. Try not to tuck too much, okay? Great. 2 breaths. Keep your legs right as they are. Fold forward. One more time. Step back. Downward facing dog. Let your shins come forward. Bend your knees. Look back. See your heels lift up. Press into the balls of the feet. Pull your heels back, 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 back. Strong arches of the feet. Exhale, come down, build a table. Pad your knees if you need to. Just 1 cat-cow. After your cat-cow, child's pose or downward facing dog for about 3 to 5 breaths. You pick the pose, you pick the place. And we're going to be quiet so we can come back to listen to the breath. Keep your hip creases pulling back. If you're in down dog, see if you can work a little more in your upper back to look at your thumbs. If you're in child's pose, come to table. And we're all going to figure out how to come back on up to standing. Right? So many ways to come on up to standing. Arms come down by your side. Okay, back to your body, breathing about 3 to 5 breaths. Nice and quiet so you can hear your breath. Feel your breath. And challenge yourself to stay with your breathing and feel your feet anchoring into the earth. Shift the weight a little more into the right leg and pick up your left heel. And then your choice of balance, okay? You might keep the ball of your foot down. You might pick your left knee up a little bit. You might drive that left knee way up, okay? So we're all really different. You find some of us are going to tree. Some of us are just keeping the knee up. You be wherever you need to be. Feeling that right foot, balls of the feet down through the toes. All right, are you ready? You have to step that left foot all the way back now. Woo! So you're going to build your high lunge. Going to lift the front of your hips up again. Okay, keep your back heel up. Now decide where you want your arms. Maybe they're really good down here at your hips. Maybe they come here to your chest. Maybe you're taking them up. Okay, you're going to push into that right front leg and straighten and bend. Now you have an option. You can straighten your leg and pull your arms back, bend and high five stretch with your breath. You can keep your hands here. You can keep them here. I'm going to do about 5 more. Going with your breath. If your breath gets faster, then you move faster. With control. Next time your right knee is bent and your arms are up, if you have your arms moving, pause. 3 breaths. And step your right or your left foot forward, but step into this right leg to bring that left leg forward. Okay, so strong hips, 5 resting breaths, come back. If your heart rate's a little bit higher, it's a great benefit. Right? Heart rate goes up a little bit. Breathe a little heavier. Take a couple breaths. Okay, try not to look at your feet, just feel again. Okay, there's the balls of the feet. There's my toes. There's the heels. Lift your right heel up. Find your balance. Sometimes balancing, sometimes, right, when the heart rate goes up, when we're breathing a little heavier, it's not always really comfortable. And that's one of the benefits of this practice is if we're practicing with mindful self-compassion, we're being kind to ourselves. We're learning how to stay in our bodies when they're not always feeling super duper pleasant, right? So we're learning how to regulate and respond. Then you're going to take that right leg when you're ready and step it all the way back. And lift those front hips up. Keep that right heel lifted. Strong corset cummerbund, strong upper back. Pick where your arms go. Then you're going to exhale, straighten and bend. You decide, you can move the arms with this or keep the arms stable. Your choice. We all move from our breath. Couple more. Then you're going to find your lunge. 3 breaths. You're going to push into that left front leg. Step that right leg forward. Hang out. So personally, this is where I always feel the most uncomfortable because my heart rate's going really fast. Doesn't always feel really great. So then I come back. So notice if you're feeling uncomfortable, okay, if your heart rate's really fast, you're breathing kind of heavy, okay, come back. Can you reconnect to grounding? Can you observe, try and stay in your body as the breath slows down as you find more space? I'm going to take about 3 more breaths. And then either keeping your legs right here or finding that chair pose again. Again, you do what you want to with your arms. Maybe they come up, maybe they stay down. Wherever you are, draw your navel back a little bit. Get that lower corset cummerbund nice and strong so that your low back is nice and connected. Reach your arms up if they're up, and then fold forward and step back, downward facing dog. Or tabletop or child's pose. We're going to stay in one of these places. Then one more time, tabletop to cat-cow. Then after your cat-cow, pause, and we're going to lower ourselves down to our belly. So you might want to come right here. You might want to come up and do a little more challenging, like a straight arm plank. You could hold your plank for a while, or you can come straight down. Okay, I have a mic on, so I can't get my forehead really close, but you can. You're going to tuck your chin under, bring your forehead down. If you're still in plank, hang out there. It's fine. Challenge yourself. It might be more challenging to come on your belly and rest. Soften through the front of your shoulders and your armpits. And then if you're in plank, lower down, and we're all going to take about 10, 15 seconds just to feel a little more in touch with the breath across your back. So what does it feel like here when you intentionally breathe into your back lungs? When you intentionally breathe under your shoulder blades? Now, as you're breathing, as you start to exhale, tighten up your corset cummerbund. Okay, so that might feel like there's your belly button. Draw that belly button up a little bit. We need a strong corset cummerbund area to protect the low back. Keeping that low back in your awareness, pull your legs back. Imagine I could walk around the room and I could pull your toes back out of your ears. You're trying to feel and create an energetic sense of length from your ears to your shoulders, to your hips, to your toes. Now, from there, lift your legs up a little bit. You're going to push your pelvis into the floor, lift and lower your legs about 5 times. They don't have to lift very high, and you don't have to get your thigh bones off of the floor. You might be lifting and you can't get your knees up. That's okay. You're lifting and lowering, and you're just paying close attention. Like, how does this feel in your low back? How's this feel in your shoulders? Okay, then bring your legs all the way back down. Push the tops of your feet into the floor a little bit, gentle. Okay, now when you push the tops of your feet down, you might have feel your knees pop up off the floor. That's okay too. Just careful not to like blast out and overlock your knee. Okay, we're going to bring your hands and stack your palms, and you're going to put your head on your hand. It doesn't matter which hand is on top. You're going to just soften your shoulders out of your ears, and you're going to push your arms down and lift your head up. And you're going to lower down. Okay, we're going to do 4 more of these with your breath. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. So it might feel a little bit like a cow or a baby cobra. Trying to keep your corset, cummerbund area strong, low back long. And then as this is coming along, if you want more challenge, lift your upper half, lift your lower, and then lower down. Okay, lift up, exhale, lower down. Just like that. 3 more or rest when you need to. So really try and feel like you're pushing down. Down is creating the lift. Now, as you lift, can you also feel the length? So when you leave class, you might be a millimeter taller and your shoe size might be a millimeter longer, right? You're going for length, length, length. Great. One more lift up. Great. Come down, rest. And then just notice what you notice. We're going to take about 10-15 seconds to let you just be on your belly if you're really uncomfortable. Of course, move. You could come to tabletop or roll on your back, but if you're okay on your belly, this can be tummy time. Come back, notice what you notice. And then we have to push back up to a tabletop to do 3 cat-cows, okay? So however you want to come on up. Strong fingers, wrists, arms. Exhale, you're going to do a cat. Inhale, you'll do a cow. We'll just move through that. Great. And then after 3, if you feel like your low back needs one more stretch, you might take a downward facing dog or a child's pose. And then we're going to find a nice, comfortable seated shape. So feel free to take a down dog in between that or a child's pose. And in about 5 breaths, we'll come back and find an easy-ish, comfortable seated shape. So you can, of course, sit crisscross applesauce, or you can have your knees out in front of you and anchor through your sit bones. So you might rock a little bit side to side to feel your sit bones. And then just let your spine lift up nice and natural. And give yourself 3 exhales. And then as you're breathing, define your rib cage. So you could start way up here in your armpits or way up at your collarbones and go down and find your rib cage. Okay, so we want the rib cage to move more than the neck. Even though the neck is really mobile and we know that we can twist the neck, we're trying to get the rib cage free, okay? You're trying to stabilize your pelvis. So not a lot of movement down here in your pelvis. Movement here, and try and stabilize your neck, even though we know the neck can do a ton of twisting, okay? So find your rib cage and just spin it around to the right. And then when you spin your rib cage around to the right, notice if you changed weight or shift in your sit bones, and try and even that weight out in your sit bones. And then take your head and neck around to the left. Soften through your shoulders, 3 breaths. And then you're going to come back to the front center. Take your rib cage to the left. Notice if you shifted weight in your sit bones or your legs and try and come back to a little more balance. Take your gaze over the right. Great. Come back to the center one more time. Ribs to the right. Gaze to the left. Soft shoulders. Gaze to the right, ribs to the left. Check your sit bones. Did they shift weight? And then back to center. Woohoo, bring your legs out in front of you. Hands can be here. Hands can be here, right? So you're going to sit on your sit bones and then come on the back of the sit bones, which will give a little bit of rounding in your low back. Nice and slow. Try not to grip in your hips. It's really easy. As soon as you grip in your hip, you've gone too far. Okay. So this is felt more so than seen. So you're going to sit back to your challenge. Try to keep your shoulders out of your ears. Try not to get too tight and tense in your hips. Great. And then just cross your hands over. If you need to bring them to the floor, of course you can. Twist to the right. Twist to the left. One more time. Try not to move your pelvis. When you get back to center, pull yourself all the way on up. Hands come forward. 3 breaths. Then however you want to make your way onto your back. So you can use your legs like a ladder. You can roll back. You're going to take your feet straight up to the ceiling. Give yourself a double hamstring stretch. So yes, you could definitely have a little bend in your knee. Give yourself a moment to feel nice and heavy through the back pelvis, the back of your ribs, through your shoulders, back of your head. Stretching your heels up to get a little stretch through the back of the legs, knees, calves. And then let your feet come to the floor. Okay, take your legs, okay, wide. So your feet are on the floor. You're like in constructive rest, how we started. Knees are really wide, and you're going to let your knees drop side to side. Just windshield wiper your knees. This should not hurt your low back. So if it does, please know to stop. And then I would add a little bit of resistance. Imagine you were in mud and you're pulling your legs through mud as they tip side to side. So you're not just letting your knees drop. There's some control. Then continuing here, we always take the last few minutes for self-care. Time to come back and check in with how we are doing. So you might want to continue a little bit with this. You might find your own stretching. You might come up and sit in meditation. You might close your eyes, take Shavasana. So we all have a few moments to come back to our bodies, to our breath. I'm going to take the next 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes in silence. So as we're lying on our backs or seated, just hanging out here, shifting gears a little bit to gratitude practice. So you might think of 2 or 3 things here that you're extremely grateful for. And take a moment to take a breath for each one and notice how that feels throughout your body. And then as you take your next exhale, just start to slowly open your awareness to the room you're in, to the spaces around you. You might gently open your eyes, look around. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Draw your knees into your chest. And when you're ready, slowly roll over and come all the way on up to sitting. Happy Friday, everyone. High fives to everyone online and in the room. Thanks for showing up today. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Woohoo!